I started lifting at around 12. Besides how good you feel afterwards, I think it's kind of like an art as well, because a lot of people see it as only a sport, but it's actually, I think, more so an art than a sport.
Yeah.
Use the mirror to kind of sculpt and see what you need to work on, and not in a narcissistic way. It matters what you put in your body just as much as your physical activity. Everybody just thinks, as long as you look good naked, then it's all good, and I don't think that that's true. Then I started envisioning myself doing the contest already, having patience for people. I think that's a tough one.
Yeah, tough one,
Yeah.
and it's a very important one.
Eva, we're rolling.
Hello, curious audience. I'm Eva Motion, and welcome to my show. What the health are you talking about? My show is about a healthy lifestyle. Today, we are still going to talk about health and fitness, but in relationship with the law of attraction. My guest today will tell us his about interesting experience and will share how strong belief in conjunction with hard work can make things happen. Belief in action is the subject for today's show. Mike Padgett is my fascinating guest today. Hello, Mike.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm so excited to have you on my show.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
That's my pleasure. You are a bodybuilder. You're a personal trainer. You are writing your book and you play guitar. Is anything else that I missed?
Well, I used to cut hair for some years, so barber, I guess you could say. Still cut my own hair, and what else? And then I messed around with sculpting a little bit with clay.
Wow!
Yeah.
You're a very creative person.
Yeah,
Sorry that I missed that. Let's start with bodybuilding.
Okay.
How did you find your passion for that?
Well, I think I kind of like just got lucky and fell into it because when I was little and I was growing up, I was always pretty thin, and I used to watch all the action movies with Arnold and Stallone and Van Damme, all those guys. I used to look up to them, and then also my own father. I would see him work out in the garage. Nothing serious, but he would lift weights.
But still, it was so influential.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew that like if I wanted to gain some muscle, I had to work out with weights. So that's kind of what got me started. And then just doing it consistently, I really kind of fell in love with it. And then it became just like not only a hobby, but a passion of mine,
How much time did it take to have the body that you wanted?
Oh man, it took like, I would say probably at least 3 years.
But how old were you when you started?
I started lifting at around 12 to 13 years old, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was like doing body weight stuff first, pull-ups, push-ups, abs, all kind of ab stuff, and then I would work out with my dad once in a while in the garage, just basic stuff,
But did your dad train you?
I mean, we'd work out together, but he didn't really like know a lot. He would just lift weights kind of like any other guy that would work out in his own garage with his weights. So not really. We worked out together, father and son, that kind of thing. But a lot of the times I would just end up working out by myself too if he was too busy with work or tired or something, so.
But what does attract you in bodybuilding?
I think besides how good you feel afterwards, I think it's kind of like an art as well, because a lot of people see it as only a sport, but it's actually, I think, more so an art than a sport, because it's like sculpting the human body as opposed to sculpting clay, So you look at the body and you see where you need to add some muscle, and you add a little bit of muscle there, and you try to see what looks the most aesthetically pleasing, kind of like the Greek statues, for instance, So
just your own sculpture.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's fun in that way, because you use the mirror to kind of sculpt and see what you need to work on, and not in a narcissistic way, but you use it as actual tool to see what
as an artist.
Yeah, kind of like you look at a piece of paper.
In an artistic way.
Exactly, so.
And when did you decide that you're ready to participate in bodybuilding contest?
Around the age of 19, I really felt like right after high school, I started getting more serious with my nutrition, and then I really put on a good amount of muscle, and I felt like I was getting ready to compete. But then that's when I got injured really bad, so I couldn't couldn't compete at that age.
How old were you?
I was only 19.
19.
Yeah.
For how long were you restricted from lifting weights?
I couldn't lift at all for like a whole year. Every time I would try to lift, my back would hurt too bad. So I just had to kind of like, I just had to rest and focus on school and other things and not really focus on anything physical for a long time, you know.
How
So-
did it affect your mindset? Because you're obsessed.
I
with
was
lifting
pretty
weights.
depressed. I was like down, you know. I wouldn't say depressed, like crazy depressed, but it was depressing to feel like you can't do what you love to do. So I just had to put my focus elsewhere and kind of in the mind, and then also like playing guitar and things like that, you know.
That's when you discovered your artistic personality.
I already kind of knew since like elementary school because I used to draw since back then. So, and then they put me in a program in school for like the gifted for, you know, I was gifted in art. So they put me in a program for that. And then I used to draw all the time back then with pencil, a lot of pencil drawings, like sketches and stuff. So that was kind of when I discovered it back then. Yeah.
When you couldn't do your body sculpture, you had to do some drawing instead.
Yeah, I had to do that and then kind of mess with guitar, like music and hanging out with friends, and then school, you know, stuff like that. So other things, yeah.
And when you got back to weightlifting, like what was your goal? How different you become?
It was to learn how to lift and kind of get stronger and also prevent like injury, you know, to be careful, still do what I wanted to do, still sculpt my body, but stay functional and also just basically kind of rehab myself, rehabilitate my back and my core and try to stay consistent and just be healthy. It wasn't just about only getting big muscles, you know, it was about also being healthy too.
Like to lift safe and effective.
Yeah, for like, it was more so like longevity within lifting. So when I'm 60, I can still lift weights and still work out pretty intense and be, you know, pretty much injury free. So that became more of the goal.
Tell us about that fascinating story when you become a champion.
Okay, so like I said, you know, at 19 I couldn't lift. So if you fast forward after I got back into it and I relearned how to work out, by the age of 28, 29, I started getting back to kind of where I was, maybe a little better. And then I got approached from one of the promoters for one of the bodybuilding contests, and he said, you know, you look great, you know, why don't you enter one of these contests? And I was kind of like, I was not sure, you know, because he wanted me to try out the big one at the LA Fit Expo. And I wasn't, you know, I was interested, but I wasn't really sure. And then, you know, I just thought, screw it, I'll go for it. So then once I knew I was going to do it, then I think it was about a month and a half before. And then I started preparing. Yeah. So.
How did you win that?
So basically, I started watching videos of contests, right? I started looking it up. I started trying to talk to people that have competed before and try to get some advice, do a lot of reading. Then I started envisioning myself doing the contest already. And I like a lot of like self-help motivation type stuff, like Napoleon Hill, even though that's old school, but I really like Napoleon Hill a lot. So he talks about like affirmations, and so I utilize that. And he says that you can't just say that you want something. It has to be very specific. It has to be like how much, if it's money, let's say, or it has to be a date, like when you're gonna win it, or when you're gonna get that particular thing. So that's what I did. I wrote down on cards, little cue cards. I put down like when I was gonna win the contest, what place, you know, not just second place or third place, I was gonna like actually win first place. I put the date, I put that I was gonna get in the magazine, and I put all these details, and then I put it on my fridge. So every morning and every night, I would read it to myself out loud and try to envision it, even though it sounds crazy, you know.
No, it's.
But I would do that. That's what I would really do.
Absolutely.
And I did that every day until the contest came. And then the night before the contest, I was practicing posing, because that's a big part of the show, is you have to learn how to pose. And I was picturing them calling my name, calling first place while I was posing. And then the next day when the contest came, that's exactly what happened. I went and basically collected my trophy, my first place trophy.
Did you believe in yourself or in the law of attraction more?
Both, yeah.
Tell us about the work that you put in a workout-wise.
Well, for the contest time, I was doing 4 days a week, 2 hours at a time, and intense. I was working out and not skipping any days, very consistent. I was doing lower body twice a week, upper body twice a week, and my nutrition was as perfect as it can be, in my opinion, and I was not swaying from that. I was making all my own meals. I was eating 6 to 8 meals a day, and after, and this is working full time. So after work, I would come home.
How it's possible.
Yeah, and then I would cook, for a couple hours, put all my food, store it, and then I'd be ready for the next few days of food,
But no social life that time.
Not too much, not too much.
Not too much, but still you could handle even your social life.
A little bit. I mean, I would, hang out with a friend once in a while, but it was mostly work and working on that contest.
Tell us about your feelings when you won.
Oh, it felt so good. Because a lot of the times I don't get too excited when it comes to a lot of things. That's just how I am. But, I'll be happy, but I won't get all crazy excited physically. But when I won the contest, it felt really good. It was like delayed gratification, because it's something that you're working on for a very, very long time. And, that was something I wanted to do since I was 19, and I kind of it got delayed by 10 years basically, and then I finally had it, and it felt awesome.
How did your life change after this victory?
I think a little bit more confidence, just in, not confidence itself, because I already had confidence, but I think it was more so with attaining certain big goals that you may think that you may not be sure about sometimes, And then that led me to doing 2 more contests right after that. And I did the Muscle Beach one, and then I did the West Coast Classic, and I won those 2 as well.
Did you use the law of attraction?
I did the same thing.
Oh, really?
Same exact thing, yeah.
3 times?
Yeah, and it worked.
And the same routine?
Yeah.
And it worked?
Yeah.
Are you planning to do bodybuilding contest again?
Yeah, in the future.
And are you going to use the same routine again?
Yeah. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So it's one of those things that I feel like bodybuilding is something I can do even, it's one of those sports that you can do even when you're 50, 60, as old as you want. They have classes for different ages and everything. So later in life, let's say 10 years from now or 5 years from now, if I want to try it again, I definitely can enter a contest and do it,
And you have the secret. That's why.
Thank
Let's move to your personal training experience. What is your favorite fitness goal to work with?
I think for the person that's just interested in overall health and longevity, I think that's my favorite, because I'm a health researcher. I like to look up a lot of things about internal health and holistic health. I'm into natural health. So I like to help them with whether it's nutrition, supplementation, all those things on top of the training. It's like a whole altogether, because it's all connected, So.
What do you think is the biggest gap in people's health-wise life?
There's this misconception that if you get fit, and I think this is kind of mainstream, I think everybody thinks if you just get fit and you look ripped or you look like you're healthy, that you're automatically healthy. And I believe that is not true. I think that there's guys that look really buff and ripped, and women that look really fit, and you always hear about them coming, not always, but there'll be times where you'll hear about them having a heart attack, or you'll hear about them having a stroke, or getting some kind of degenerative disease, arthritis. And you're always blown away. You're like, wow, they always ran, or they always lifted weights, and I think that there's a disconnect. Everybody just thinks, as long as you look good naked, then it's all good. And I don't think that that's true. I think that if there's the holistic aspect of it is it matters what you put in your body just as much as your physical activity, So your food is like your medicine, basically.
What would you recommend to put in your body to feel healthier and live longer?
Well, what I think honestly is if you're looking at it just from the nutrition standpoint, is foods more in their natural state. So you want 80 to 90% of the time that you eat, let's say throughout the week, you want to eat clean. And what that means is having stuff like fruits and vegetables, lean proteins. You want to stay away from processed foods. You want to get some whole grains in there, healthy fats, very important with the healthy fats, right? And you want to stay away as best as possible, it's not always possible, but from chemicals, pesticides, GMO, genetically modified organisms. And I feel like if you try to do that the majority of the time, at least 80% of the time, you know, you're okay to have, you know, some stuff here and there that's not so great, and I think you'll be all right, you know, for the most part. But yeah, I think that's what I would recommend.
I totally understand what you're talking about, but let's get a little bit specific. Protein. What would you recommend for protein?
Well, it depends. If it's somebody that is not a vegan or vegetarian, then I would say chicken, eggs, turkey, and then fish is okay, but it has to be certain kinds of fish. You want to make sure you don't get farmed fish. You want to make sure that it's kind of a less fatty fish. You want to make sure it's wild caught. That's a lot better for you. And then also, what else did I leave out? Red meat once in a while, but not, you know, not on a regular basis all the time.
But once in a while, once a week, once a month?
Like once a week, something like that, yeah.
Healthy fat?
Anything from like avocado, olives, chia seeds, flax seeds, fats that include, you know, the fat in the egg, but it has to be eggs that are like really high quality, like the kind you would get maybe at a farmer's market, or like that you would get at the market, but they're the really expensive ones, put it that way, because they're like free range and the chickens get to roam around and all stuff. And the reason for that is because the fat in the yolk and those types of eggs have omega-3s, so they're a lot more nutrient dense, right?
How about grains? What kind of grains would you recommend?
If it's somebody that doesn't have a gluten intolerance or allergy, then, you know, they'll probably be okay with wheat. But if they're not really sure, they can always, you know, try to stay away from it and see if they feel better. You know, there's like a whole method behind that, but we won't really get into that right now. But brown rice is great. Any kind of rice, it's fine.
Okay.
Couscous, quinoa, yeah, and any kind of wheat as long as you don't have an allergy to it.
You're very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
And you are writing a book. Tell us about that. What kind of concept?
Okay, so it kind of goes back to what I was just talking about a little while ago. It's going to be about people that get mysterious illnesses that they go to 1 million doctors for, and there's like not one doctor that can figure out what's wrong with them. Their blood test looks pretty normal. They seem fine, but maybe they wake up and they're tired all the time. They feel like they can't get up without a cup of coffee, and they think that that's kind of normal. Like, oh, I just need my coffee, and that's not. You know, you should get up and feel fine. And maybe they're in their 20s or 30s, you know, and they feel terrible all the time. And so things like that, I want to help people like that. So I'm writing this book that's going to cover all the various reasons why you may feel that way and why your health may not be good, even though you exercise and you eat right.
I'm looking forward to have you on the show after you published it.
Cool, thank you.
Speaking of your personal training business, you don't market yourself, and you are always busy. How does it happen?
I think just, you know, doing your job as good as you can, being the best trainer you could be, and then also having really great rapport with your clients, and genuinely caring. Like, you really want to help them, and it shows, because if you spend an extra 10 minutes with them, trying to help them, talk to them about their nutrition or about a particular exercise, or reaching out to them like on your off time to help them with something, you know, letting them know that they can reach out to you whenever they have a question, email, text, phone, anything like that. Just being there for them and genuinely supporting them and wanting to see them do better and just get healthier. You know, I think that shows, and they know it, and also having patience for people. You know, I think that's a tough one. You know.
Yeah, tough one, and it's a very important one.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing working with people?
I think just being able to share my knowledge with them, and then also seeing them improve. Like, I like that a lot, because it's very gratifying, and you just you see somebody go from being super weak, maybe they couldn't even do a proper squat, you know, and now they're using weight, and they're telling you how much better they feel. They have more energy. They can pick things up at home and put it on the shelf, and, you know, they can grab all the groceries in one trip. You know what I mean? Things like that. So I really enjoy that. And then also I really enjoy the stories that some of my clients have, you know, because we sometimes in between sets we'll have a little chat, and they'll tell me interesting stories. And I think just interacting with the people, it's nice. You know, you learn a lot of things. I've learned a lot from my clients, things I didn't know because I didn't travel a lot when I was growing up, and some of my clients have. So I just pick their brain and learn so much from them all the time. That's what I enjoy.
Writing, drawing, and playing guitar. What is your favorite?
My favorite, I think, writing is definitely not my favorite.
Really?
I'm just doing it because I want to help people, but
Okay.
I'm not, that's not my favorite. But my favorite has to probably be like lifting probably, and music. Those two are my two favorites.
Is there anything else that you're going to apply the law of attraction for?
Everything, anything in the future that I want to do or that I want to achieve.
Anything that you could share, what you want to do?
Probably my book right now. Yeah, just for it to come out the way I'm planning for it to come out, because you have to kind of envision it first. Like, it already exists in here. I just need to transfer it from here onto actual paper. And that part's actually really difficult. Maintenance is not always the easiest thing, right? People start and then they stop.
We will cut to our action time. Stay with us. Action time. Today Mike will show me very intense exercises.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is a circuit of 3 different exercises, okay? This is something that you can do with your own body. You can do it at home. You can do it when you're on vacation in your hotel room, and it doesn't take much time. Very intense, and it's gonna burn a lot of calories.
How many exercises?
It's gonna be 3 exercises back to back.
And how many reps?
So you're gonna do 10 reps of each, okay?
And I'm gonna do just one set, but
Exactly.
how many sets would you recommend
So
for
if
our
you're just starting, maybe about 2 sets, but you're gonna work your way up to where you can get to 3 to 5 sets, okay? So obviously more sets if you want to burn more calories. If you're feeling kind of tired but you still want to get a workout in, 2 or 3 sets will be fine. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first exercise is going to be squat jumps. Do you know about those?
Yeah, I've heard something about
Okay,
those.
let me see how you do that. Okay, good. So when you land, you want to land a little softer and push from your heels up, okay?
9, 10.
Good. Next one is going to be burpees.
Oh, my favorite.
You
Okay.
do 10 reps of the burpees, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, very good. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right.
Which was the last one? I don't know.
You're good. Last one's going to be mountain climbers, okay? And you're going to do 10. So every time your knee comes back up to your chest on the second knee, that's 1 rep, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're all set. So that's 1 round, and you would do 3 to 5 if you really want an intense workout, like I said.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Special questions time. Pick one. Retro or modern?
Retro.
Rain or wind?
Rain.
Oatmeal or eggs for breakfast?
Eggs.
Leg curl or leg extension machine?
Leg extension.
Mercedes or BMW?
Mercedes.
Personal trainer set questions.
Okay.
What do you like the most about personal training?
I like that I'm not sitting at a desk and I get to move around and be on my feet. And then also training people, you know, seeing them improve, like I said. And it's just a lot more fun than I feel like than being stuck in an office, you know.
What do you like the least about personal training?
Sometimes I think once in a while you'll get somebody that's really difficult. And what I mean by difficult is maybe they have like a really difficult personality to get along with. But I think that's why there's different trainers, you know, and there's different people doing that job. So maybe you're not the best fit. But I think that's probably the toughest part sometimes is the personalities, you know.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
What type of tutor or teacher would you hire for yourself?
Someone that has already been where I want to go. like if it's, somebody that already wrote a book, for instance, and it's very successful,
Oh, okay.
then I would have that person as my mentor. Yeah.
That's great. If you were not a personal trainer, what else would you do?
I was gonna be a barber, but I felt like I can go a lot further with personal training, and that's a little bit more of my passion than just cutting hair.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Strong and deep belief and hard and smart work can get you to the desired destination. You can call it a formula for success or the law of attraction, but the result is identical, and it easily can be applied for your health and fitness goals. I'm Eva Motion. Thank you for watching What the Health Are You Talking About? Be united with your dreams, work smart and hard, believe that you are worthy for your dreams. Thank you.